Hello and welcome, friends. In this particular module, I wish to discuss about basics of composting for municipal solid waste. Under this particular topic, we will discuss about the recovery of biodegradables for composting, process of composting, indicative pre-processing for composting, stages involved, properties of compost, and constraints of marketing for compost as far as Indian conditions are concerned. As you learn the content, you'll be able to explain the process of composting, state available design alternatives with their advantages as well as disadvantages, and also to discuss the constraints for developing the commercial viability of compost for typical Indian circumstances. So we have been concentrating on simply separation, processing, and transformation as far as functional elements of solid waste management are concerned. In last few presentations, already we have dealt with thermal processing and also the material recovery facility in addition to waste management hierarchy. As now, we simply focus on the biodegradable content of the stream of municipal solid waste and processing the same through the biological technologies and just the production of compost as useful product. Central Pollution Control Board has mentioned certain guidelines for the processing of the waste. Accordingly, it is expected that municipal authorities shall adopt suitable technology or combination of the technologies for the processing of the waste so that ultimately there will be reduction in the burden on ultimate landfilling facilities. It is expected that the out of the entire municipal solid waste, as it is separated into the biodegradable waste, the first and foremost option to process this is composting. Subsequently, we can think of vermicomposting as well as anaerobic digestion. Both we will discuss in our subsequent presentations. In addition to this composting, vermicomposting as well as anaerobic digestion, even the freedom is given in order to adopt any appropriate biological processing for stabilization of the waste. Also, it has been mentioned about the incineration with or without energy recovery as well as the pelletization through refuse derived fuels. Also, the municipal authority or the operator of the facility wishing to use other state of art technologies is expected to approach the Central Pollution Control Board authority in order to get the standards laid down before receiving any authorization in order to process this waste. So these particular guidelines I am trying to mention in order to understand the importance of composting, vermicomposting and anaerobic digestion as far as the appropriate technology is concerned in order to process the biodegradable content of the entire solid waste stream. Composting is biological decomposition of the organic constituents of waste under controlled conditions. And the result of this particular decomposition process is compost. It is humus like, a crumbly, earthy smelling soil like material. The composting has got a great potential to reduce the amount of the waste that will be ending up in the landfills or any other processing technologies otherwise. This technique can be taken up over a very small unit like kitchen waste compost bin, or it could also be scaled up at certain, say, housing complex level through the variety of the techniques in order to produce ultimately the compost. While defining the areas which will be processing such kind of the composting, there are certain government guidelines. If such kind of the facility is being developed for dealing with certain small waste contents, say less than 5 tons per day, there is no necessity to have any specific buffer zone. Also, here there is no any specific condition for decentralized plants which are handling very small capacity such as 1 ton per day. However, if the capacity is exceeding 100 tons per day, it is expected to have the buffer distance of 500 meters, and as the capacity is mentioned to be 75 to 100, 50 to 75, 10 to 50 metric tons per day, accordingly, the buffering distance is expected to be 400 meters, 300 meters and 200 meters respectively. Let's try to understand how this particular composting process takes place. Here it is necessary to note that the composting that we wish to do differs significantly from the natural process, because we are monitoring that particular process continuously, as well as it is being done through certain controlled conditions. Also, we wish to eliminate the pathogenic content as well as certain weed seeds by having certain high temperature phases that are achieved through the processing of compost. The controlled operation of successive actions of a variety of the microorganisms, decomposing these organic materials and converting them into biologically stable product with no harmful effect on the plants when used as soil supplement is our ultimate aim. In order to decide the success of this compost, variety of biological, chemical as well as physical processes needs to be contributing so that our ultimate aim will be achieved. As we see here in this particular sketch, this is the composting heap. The composting material could be organic matter along with the nutrients, necessary moisture content and the presence of microorganisms. Usually, this organic matter is expected to be fruits and vegetable scraps, even certain coffee grounds, tea bags, carbon remains. Usually, we wish to avoid certain, say, meat, dairy products, as well as fish scraps and oil and fat, which is likely to interfere with the biological activity. Though the eggshells are expected to be or can be part of the waste stream meant for the composting, it would be better if it is used as a powdery form and it would be subsequently acting with the acid being formed in the processes so as to have it transformed into carbon dioxide and water. We will speak about certain massive process of composting, which will be say more than 50 metric tons per day and such. So as we receive the waste stream, the components of it may not be palatable as far as composting process is concerned, and hence it would be attracting various equipment in order to have that pre-processed. So as the waste is received, the first equipment like loader with its shovel like attachment at the front of the tractor mounted front headers loader or payloaders would be releasing that kind of the material into some conveyors or into certain piles. Subsequently, narrow conveyors slowly passing over the rotating wheels assist the sorting or separation phase of composting to facilitate the manual separation of certain undesirable content that is present in this particular waste. Also, even after manual screening, there could be some content which may not be assisting and which could be harmful for the microbial actions, and hence it needs to be segregated through certain primary or secondary screenings. Certain metallic as well as non-metallic content would also be removed from that particular process through certain magnetic separations as well as certain eddy current separations, the way we discussed in the presentation of material recovery facility. So, in the total process steps that will be following for this particular composting are presented here. Will be receiving the waste, it will be manually separated, it will be screened, it will be shredded, it will be magnetically separated, it will be amended with the necessary moisture content as well as nutrients, and the actual composting process will start here. As the composting occurs through certain phases that we'll discuss on the next slide, subsequently there will be phase of the maturation, post-processing, and that particular compost. So here typically the waste that we receive would be consisting around 40 to 50% non-biodegradable materials. Hence, it needs to be pre-processed the way we discussed on the previous slide through the various mechanisms. Also, as the final product should be at par with fertilizer control order, which was initially published in 1955 but subsequently with amendments in 57, 85, 2009 also need to be attended. So, as we discussed through the flow chart and certain pre-processing techniques, we wish to have the waste inspected, prepared, and as the decomposition occurs, the first phase is of active composting. This step involves the rapid decomposition of the feedstock components that can be degraded very easily. As it is done, further, certain coarser agents, components that are existing in the form of, say, wooden chips would be separated out of that particular stream, and the decomposition of that would be expected with some other step. After recovery of these particular bulking agents, the compost is expected to be cured. This step involves the microorganisms converting carbon into carbon dioxide and humus and nitrogen into the nitrates, which is much slower biological process. Microorganisms begin to decompose more complex organic structures such as the lignins and the cellulose contents in paper, wood and plants, and stable humic substances are formed into the curing piles. As the process is complete, now the product will be finally screened and the product will be stored for the packaging. As we see here, this particular active phase of the composting, it is associated with the thermophilic stage. It is the first phase of the decomposition for composting, in which the easier degradable material is consumed by the thermophilic bacteria. Subsequently, in the second stage, the mesophilic bacteria are acting, and here this particular, as the readily available content is consumed, the microbial activity will be reduced. As there is a declination in this particular, say, temperature in the heap, the next step that we go is nothing but this is curing. So as we discussed here, it is very important phase in the composting process because the microbial presses begin to decompose more complex organic material that is present in the feedstock. So this composting process, depending on the use of oxygen, can be divided into two ways. The one is aerobic type, another one is anaerobic type. Anaerobic type, here we will discuss the example of Bangalore method. For aerobic, we can discuss certain windrow techniques as well as certain aerated vessels. Also, we can discuss about the Indore method in our next slides. The aerobic composting is preferred option as far as urban local bodies are concerned, and this is characterized by high temperature, absence of odors and the rapid decomposition. Usually aerobic composting will be taking place within 30 to 45 days. Whereas this anaerobic phase is characterized with low temperature, creating certain odorous intermediate products, slow decomposition. However, there would be requirement of less control, but this kind of composting may take place over 60 to 90 days period. The Bangalore method is anaerobic method. It is characterized with the odor nuisance. This is expected to be accepted over the small places, say in garden or say certain small community, even in farms. So this particular composting pits will be excavated with 1 to 1.5 meter depth, and it will be filled with the layer of the solid waste or any kind of organic waste. And the way it is mentioned about the night soil, but one can make use of certain, say, cattle dung or some stabilized, decomposed layer of the solid waste. So the layer would be of 15 to 20 centimeter thickness with alternate layer of 5 centimeter thickness which is fully decomposed. So such alternate layers of municipal solid waste and say decomposed waste are repeated till it reaches 30 centimeter above the top of the ground level. Here, this rising would assist to avoid the ingress of the storm water as well as even the final soil layer will avoid the fly breeding as well as the attraction of other rodents. So the compost will be ready over the period of 4 to 6 months. It can be taken out and it can be used. So we'll need certain series of pits in order to meet with the requirement of the inflow and outflow of the waste processed and going out in the form of compost. This Indore method is also the similar process to the Bangalore method. Only the thing is that an attempt is made in order to create certain aerobic conditions during the composting process. Here, the way we discuss the placing of layers alternately with 15 to 20 centimeter thickness and 5 centimeter say layer of certain decomposed waste or cattle dung. As such, just adjacent to it there would be certain vacant space of say 60 to 75 centimeter, so that here a person can enter into that particular vacant space, and by making use of certain appliances he would be able to turn the layer of that particular waste so that there will be enough supply of oxygen in order to create and maintain the aerobic conditions. So this particular turning is facilitated over the period of 4 to 7 days. So as this turning is done, the subsequent monitoring would help us to understand how the composting operation is taking place. However, within the period of certain 30 days, the compost will be ready for its usage. Let's try to understand the mechanism of the composting. As we discussed in a few of the slides, we are using the organic matter from the stream of municipal solid waste in order to transform it into the stable form by making use of aerobic or anaerobic process. Here, as we consider this particular aerobic decomposition, the microorganisms oxidize the organic compound to carbon dioxide, NO2 and NO3. Here the carbon is used as source of energy, nitrogen is recycled, and essentially the aerobic decomposition is exothermic reaction. So schematically it can be presented here, raw material plus oxygen, which produce the variety of these elements: carbon dioxide, water, ammonia, nitrate, sulfate, as well as certain new cells along with the compost and with emission of heat. Through anaerobic decomposition, the breakdown of the organic compounds is processed through reduction. The small amount of the energy and temperature is evolved. However, the end products are methane and carbon dioxide in addition to the other odorous components like H2S, in addition to the new cells, compost and the small amount of heat. There are a variety of benefits as far as compost and making use of the compost for certain crop production is concerned. Essentially, this compost contains 1% of NPK along with the micronutrients. It acts as soil conditioner as it retains the water content. It reduces the need of the water. Also, it reduces the requirement of the fertilizer as well as certain pesticides. It improves the ion exchange capacity. That is, the clay particles will be holding the content of the nutrients, as well it will also be buffering transformation of the soil into its acidic nature. As such, it improves the ion exchange capacity. It can also be used along with the dosage of the chemical fertilizers. The compost acts as biometrics in remediation of the chemical contaminants and as a remediated soil in contaminated sites. The compost helps in binding the heavy metals as well as the other contaminants, reducing the leachate as well as bioabsorption. As we consider this particular composting operations, the government of India is providing various opportunities to establish the setting of the plants, setting up the laboratory in order to monitor the quality, and also to provide the stable markets through even various ambitious programs like Swachh Bharat Mission, and also it is mandatory with Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. For typical conditions of India, for the low carbon soil which is prevalent, there is a huge requirement of good quality compost as far as Indian conditions are concerned. As we try to develop the product of the compost, we have to be very particular about the stability and maturity of the product that we wish to launch in the market. This stability is associated with the nature of the biological activity in the compost material. So, when the composting is taking place, when the bacteria are active, they will be emitting variety of the emissions which will be telling us about the activity that is taking place. Say for example, if we consider typically the high amount of biological activity, more than 4 milligrams of the carbon in the form of carbon dioxide per gram of organic matter per day indicates that the decomposition is still active. And hence, the material is not ready to be used as compost. So, here it can be determined by using various tests that measure the oxygen demand as well as even the carbon dioxide evolution. Even in compost pits, one can assess the temperature, odor, change in color, and such things, even the moisture content, in order to understand what is the level at which that composting is at. Whereas the maturity is a measure of broader chemical conditions of the compost, which indicates the presence or the absence of phytotoxic effects. Ultimately, we wish to make use of the compost for soil nourishing purposes. So, if it has got certain phytotoxic effect, it won't be able to have the healthy growth of the plants. Hence, one has to attend this maturity factor in very peculiar manner. So in line with this stability and maturity, one must observe about the properties and standards of the compost which are mentioned by various codes. So as the ultimate product is obtained, it should be black, brown, or at least black in color. It should be crumbly in nature with earthy smell. It should be neutral in nature. It should never be completely dry or completely dry. It must have the optimum moisture content. The NPK content should be more than 1% each. This nitrogen must be present in the form of nitrates for the proper utilization of the plants. If the product is not stabilized, the nitrogen won't be in the form of nitrates, and certain contents like ammonia or ionic form would be deleterious as far as the plant growth is concerned. Also, for this product, the C by N ratio should be between 15 to 20. Certain parameters in the form of arsenic, cadmium, chromium, copper, which would prove to be certain hazard to the actual growth of the plants, as well some of them would be acting as micronutrients to the plant, and hence certain acceptable concentrations are presented as far as the standards of compost is concerned. When we discuss about the compost as a process and their basics, we must also take into account the constraints that are available for typical conditions in Indian markets. Now we know that how we are going for the process of the compost, with what material and with what standards. However, having that particular stability, curing and maturity is skill job. It's very difficult to maintain the quality standards. Hence, these compost quality standards as mentioned by Solid Waste Management Rules 2016 as well as Fertilizer Control Order, the way I mentioned earlier, through its subsequent revisions right from 1957, are becoming increasingly stringent. The economy associated with producing the compost and its actual cost does not go hand in hand. Also, the lack of knowledge and practical experience among the various stakeholders responsible for planning, execution, operation, and maintenance and marketing leads to inadequately designed plants, inefficient equipment, improper operation, and certain shortcuts from the equipment design to operation protocol. Also, the long-term benefits of soil conditioning properties of compost are not adequately appreciated by the farmers as well as even the stakeholders. As far as these constraints are concerned, there was one article published in 2019 which is available over this particular site. Accordingly, the Swachh Bharat mission had committed to convert all the organic waste produced in Indian cities in order to make the compost by October 2019. However, as we try to discuss some of the factors here, with such kind of the involvement of the factors, the target of having the entire waste transformed into compost is not achieved even to the 5% as far as February 2019 is concerned. According to this Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, the average compost production is increased to the response of the appeal of the government to 16,000 metric tons per month as compared to some 12,000 metric ton per month the way earlier it was. However, as we consider the vacillating manufacturing and selling cost of the compost, the associated additional costs, questionable product of the quality, no direct incentive and subsidy to the farmers as committed, and lack of the knowledge among the other concerned ensured city compost didn't become a popular option for farmers. In fact, if we see the manufacturing cost of the compost is almost one third of that of the chemical fertilizers. Also, for typical Indian conditions, the compost is very beneficial in order to enhance the quality of the soil as well as the production. However, there are so many such reasons which are not allowing the program of the composting to the required extent and hence its success. So, thanks for your attention, friends. I hope the points that we discussed in order to understand the basics of the composting are clear to you. As we move ahead, we will further discuss the factors which are affecting the composting in detail. So by till then, I wish you very happy learning. Thank you.